Hello.
Hi, Orshi.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Life is rock and roll on the planet, but I'm doing fine.
Okay. Tell us who you are, for those who don't know you, and what you're planning on teaching when you come to Romania.
All right. Well, first of all, I will start by talking about myself, because a lot of people I've met in Romania and Hungary know me, but a lot of people don't or know just a little bit about me. For those who like diplomas, I have 7 years of university. Mind you, what I learned there is what I had to throw in the garbage. I did 7 years of martial arts also, and I ended up teaching a whole bunch of things throughout my life. So I made a list of all the things I taught, and I thought it was really funny. I taught martial arts, biology, mathematics, physics, chemistry, French, English, outdoor education, natural remedies, perso-cafe, which some of you might know, which is basically a mixture of understanding the conspiracy and finding practical solutions to this. And finally, my not more than my passion, my reason for living right now is what I'm discovering, which is called integral yoga. It's a type. First of all, yoga is not only doing exercises and stretching your legs. It's more than that. It's a Sanskrit word that means the union of spirit and matter. So I've been studying and teaching and putting into practice in my life integral yoga, which means how to do the union between a human being, me, and God or the divine or spirit, whatever you want to call it. So that's what I've been doing as far as studies and teaching. Do you want me to go, Orshi, into the kind of lifestyle I've had before?
Sure.
Okay. Because I'm not a city person. I've been living in the farmlands, and I did a lot of very alternative things, such as permaculture, straw bale houses. I've built a few with my husband, and we had solar panels for the electricity. I did some natural mothering with a long-term breastfeeding and homeschooling for 3 children, one of which was heavily retarded. And we were against vaccinations, so we had to face the health system. I taught later on at an international school with a focus on the outdoors, which was a great experience. Now, this was my kind of official life, but in the meantime, ever since I was 14 years old, I've been studying the conspiracy. So in the conspiracy, I studied basically almost all the subjects, such as exopolitics, which is the relationship between human beings and extraterrestrials. I studied how the government controls mothering and parenting, how they control education, science, politics, law, money, and how they control spirituality. And also what's been really my main focus as far as conspiracy in the past 5 years, I've been studying what is happening on planet Earth. Why are there so many Earth changes right now? And then I had to go and start learning about astrophysics and about the cosmos, how things work. So it's been a great ride for the past 5 years. So these are my studies and my experiences. And I've been looking at what I taught in the past few years after teaching regular school and homeschooling my kids. I've been teaching basically in 3 different periods. First, I started teaching alternative medicine and gardening. And then when you knew me, Orshi, I was teaching perso-cafe. So I've mentioned a lot of things like conspiracy and spiritual solutions. And since 2014, I've been solely teaching Sri Aurobindo and the Mother's integral yoga, because I find that the conspiracy is so huge that we need a huge solution. And the only place I found something that fit what my feeling was in the integral yoga of Aurobindo and the Mother. Now, Now you're going to tell me, well, what's so bad about that conspiracy? And let's take a few seconds and look at it. First of all, our food is all messed up. People eating junk food, it's full of pesticides. And in case you don't know, GMOs, most of the food now is full of GMOs, genetically modified organisms. And this modifies our DNA. The vaccines that most people have, they weaken the immune system, and they even help to mind control us. Now, I don't want to go into the details of that because each subject is a huge subject in itself. Mind control is everywhere, in education, in TV, in movies, newspapers, magazines, the internet. It's all around us. Right now, the transhumanism movement and the artificial intelligence movement are bringing us closer than ever to full mind control of humanity. In case people don't know, we're right next to right before a global economic crisis. It's been impending. It's been waiting for it to happen. In politics, we have organized terrorism everywhere. We have refugee programs all around. I've been told they're all over Europe, and they're in Canada too. A lot of people are talking about World War III. In case you haven't read about chemtrails are covering our skies right now, and they're there to mind control us. They stimulate illnesses, they control the climate, they do all kinds of stuff. HARP and CERN and smart meters and drugs and sex, everywhere around us, wherever we look, we see that we're reaching the end of civilization as we know it, period. If you haven't gotten your head out of the sand yet to see this, it's time to do it now. Before everything collapses, it's kind of nice to look around and see this is what's happening. Now, why is this all going on simultaneously? Well, there are huge problems because there's a huge reason. The reason was explained by Aurobindo and the mother. They say we are on the brink of a new being and a new earth and a new post-animal kingdom in matter. And they're the first ones who not only explained this, but actually started doing it in their own bodies. So what they explain is that we are about to go on to a new level of consciousness that is so amazing that life will be totally changed in the next few years. But there are invisible realms with entities in them that are trying to stop this from happening. And they are the ones, those entities, they are the ones who are counseling and telling the elites what to do. So those chemtrails, the GMOs, all the mind control mechanisms are there just to make sure that we don't go to that next step. So it's interesting to see how everything is done by the elite to stop us, and the solution is internal. The only way to create that new step is for us to change internally. And that's what's exciting, because now I don't want to put so much emphasis on the conspiracy. I know it's there. I've been studying it all my life. But the solution is internal. So what I'm doing now is teaching and doing in my life, first of all, but also teaching people how to change yourselves internally. So basically, let me see now, I'm going to have a list of what I'm going to be teaching. First of all, who comes to my workshops? Well, there are people who are feeling internally that they have reached a point where they're ready to change their life completely. It means their souls are ready, they have open minds, and they have willing bodies, willing to change. Okay? Those people who come are those who know that there are huge changes on Earth right now, and it's only going to get more intense in the years to come. And there are 4 types of preparations: spiritual, mental, vital or emotional, and physical. to me, the most important, the number one is a spiritual preparation. Okay. And before that, my focus earlier on in life was physical. I knew we were in for a big ride, a big rough ride, and I was getting bags of rice. I was getting solar panels. We were ready to survive, the survivalist way of thinking. Nowadays, I understand that the main focus should be spiritual, because it's a spiritual change that we're living into. It's not only a planet coming to destroy our planet and things are going to get hectic. It's much more than that. It's not only a cosmic chaos, it's a spiritual chaos. So the solution has to be spiritual first. So what do we study? Well, how do we prepare spiritually? Number one, we have to understand who human beings are. All the parts of us. Our physical body, we know pretty much, but we don't know the invisible part of the physical body. We don't know our vital, emotional, energetic body. We don't know how the mental body works, and we don't even know how our soul really works and how our spirit works. We're all mixed up, basically. And most people think that their soul is their energy body. And so Octombrie and the mother, they explain this beautifully. And it's by reading their explanations that I was able to finally understand what was going on and what to do. Their solution is a triple transformation. Number one, the first transformation is the union of soul and body. And how do we do this? Well, this is what I explained in the workshops. The second transformation is raising our consciousness so that it reaches the divine consciousness. That's the second step. And the third step is taking that divine consciousness and bringing it down inside our bodies. Now, number 2 and 3, they are amazingly difficult. But you know what? There's one trick. You have to do the number one. Once you unite soul and body, the soul will tell you exactly what to do at every second, every minute. So if something has, if you're facing a problem and you don't know if you should go left or right, inside your soul will tell you which way to go. But the problem is inside you have an ego, and the ego is more than one. It's divided into many egoic personalities. How do we get to know ourselves? How do we get to dissolve ego so that we can listen to soul? This is the main crux, or the main problem that we have to face in the next years to come. So this is going to be the main emphasis in the workshop, is getting to know ourselves and getting to understand how we work inside, who talks when we make decisions, and how to dissolve the parts that we don't need anymore, to allow the soul to take over the whole body. Now, do you have any questions, Jorshi, up to now?
Can you tell me about why are we so special about the soul, about the human being?
Okay. The Octombrie and the mother were amazing at explaining this. They were saying that Earth is more than just a small planet in a little corner of the universe. Planet Earth is it's a concentration of all the energies of the universe into one little planet, and it has one single purpose. It is meant for the evolution of souls. And human beings are the beings in the universe that have a main mission, which is the union of body and soul in their own bodies. So even if we think human beings are so negative and they're so violent and they're so egoistic and whatever else, they have a huge job to do. We have a job that is much more difficult than all the aliens have to do. Don't worry about them. They have simple lives. They have higher IQs than we have. They have higher technology than we have, but they don't have the job that we have to do. Our job is to understand ourselves, number one, and number two, to be able to give ourselves to our souls in order to create the next step in the universe. So we have a big job, and we are extremely complicated beings. Aliens, which a lot of people put them higher, and they think that since they're so good at understanding things and so good, so advanced technologically, they think that they are much superior to human beings. And the good news is that they're not. They're different. Their job is different. Our job is extremely difficult, and it takes a special body with a lot of chakras, a lot of centers of consciousness that allow us to reach all the levels of the universe, from the lowest level of matter all the way to the highest level of the divine. So we have a very special body, a very special vehicle, and we don't know ourselves. That's the problem, and we don't know our purpose.
Okay. Thank you.
Does that answer a bit?
Yes, yes. Thank you very much. And can you share with us some topics, details, what we can hear from you if you participate on your workshop?
Okay, besides the conspiracy part, which is one little part of it, I'll be explaining especially what's going on with the earth changes.
Okay.
Because a lot of people are not aware of what's going on cosmically with planet Earth. So that's one part. Just for people to realize that it's time for them to let go of the old stuff. And then the second part will be knowing ourselves. What is a mental body? What is a physical body? And what is the subtle physical body? What is the vital emotional body? How do they work? How do they connect with the universal vital body, with the universal vital worlds, with the universal mental worlds, etc., which is basically the parts of the universe that are less visible, that we don't feel as much, and we have contact with those worlds all the time. So that's one part. And another part especially is understanding what is soul and how does soul work. And soul, just a short definition, it's the divine. You can call it God, you can call it the Supreme Mother, you can call it what you want, but there is a vast being, more than a vast intelligence. There's a universal being that is there, and it's there controlling what's going on in the universe. Not only that, there's this being whose body is the universe, and this is what we can call the divine. Now, the divine works in two ways. It works in a universal way, and it works in an individual way. It can individualize itself, and in human beings, it's individualized into space-time, and that individualization into space-time is called soul. So soul is much more than just an energy body. Souls do not go into hell. Souls do not go into heaven. Souls are perfectly divine, so they don't have to worry about being stolen. A lot of people, for example, say that we are on a prison planet and souls are imprisoned on this planet. This is a false understanding of souls. This is true for vital bodies. It's true for emotional bodies or the energy body. Okay, but that's another totally different story. But as far as souls are concerned, souls want to come back to Earth because this is the only place in the universe where they can actually evolve and create the next step in matter. Okay, so this is souls, and spirit is also individualized in us. Okay, and it's individualized, but it is outside of space-time. So there is a Mado that is a body, a physical body. There's a Mado that is an energy body. There's a Mado that has a mental or thought body. Okay, and I'm going into basic categories here. And there's also a Mado, which is a soul, which is the spirit individualized into space-time. And there's Mado spirit, the spirit itself, which is the divine outside of space-time. And this is all me. And each one of us, we all have that kind of strange, similar setup. How do we deal with this? And what is ego? And how does it work? And why are there so many egoic personalities, so many voices inside me telling me different things? So all of these are going to be subjects that we're going to cover in the 3 days of the workshop.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else you want to know, Orshi?
Yes, if you have another message for our followers, maybe, would you like to share something else?
Yeah, maybe I'll say one thing to those who've known me when I was involved with personal Croatia. What I taught then and what I wrote, because I took 8 years to write the personal Croatia booklet series with Ghislaine Langto with Guy. I took 8 full years of my life to study the conspiracy totally and summarize it and present Guy's explanations as far as what we should do, her solutions. And in the meantime, while I was doing this, I was also reading Aurobindo and the Mother, the integral yoga books. And the more I read, the more I saw that their solution was so much grander than what I was teaching before that I had to go deeper into integral yoga. I had to understand myself better because I could see that the problem was not external. What we were studying in personal Croatia, what I've been studying all my life, was the conspiracy. And the conspiracy is not the problem. The problem is internal. And the conspiracy is just the mirror of my internal problem. So I had eventually just turn inside to look in the mirror and to say, I have to change. Okay, not only do I have to quit my bank account, for example, or I have to stop my attachment to family. Not only that, that was just the superficial crust that I had to do. My main problem was internal. And the main problem with the internal setup here is that I didn't even know how I worked. I didn't even know how this worked inside. So I was trying to change myself and I was stuck all the time. I was stuck. I was always redoing the same things. And I couldn't get out of the rut. I couldn't get out of the old ways of the old programs, the old human programs. How do I stop being a human being? Because I cannot become something else if I'm still attached to humanity. How do I cut the bonds from humanity and move on to the next step? And to me, this is the most important thing, is to understand myself. And then I can do the rest. And the conspiracy and the external solutions, they work for a while, but eventually we face a wall, and the wall has our face in it. It's a mirror we face. And in the mirror, I see myself and I don't like what I see anymore. And I have to learn how to change this. That's it.
Okay. I think you answered all of my questions.
All right.
So thank you for this time, and we are waiting to see you at the workshop.
All right. It'll be a pleasure. I'm waiting to know each of you too. It'll be great. And I'll be happy to see you again, Orshi. It was a pleasure. And the Romania, you know what? It looks a lot like where I live. I live right now in Quebec, which is the eastern province in Canada, and we have rolling hills that looked a lot like the place I saw you last in Romania. There you go. And we have also similar, the Quebecers in Quebec, we have similar ways of living or similar ways of thinking, so it's really nice. I really enjoy being in Romania.
I'm glad to hear
it's
that.
Easy.
It's easy. Okay.
It is easy. It's as if I understand how you guys think or feel, because it's similar where I live too.
Okay. Thank you for your sharings.
All right. It was a pleasure.